Another example of misleading news, one of the worst sources is Axios, which really is just is a fake news source, I think, politically for sure, and business as well. Why U.S. home buyers are giving up. Now, they make you think that home buyers as a whole are giving up, yet every transaction you have a home buyer and a seller. And they quote this couple. It's funny because there's no data here. They just quote this one couple, Rosemary and her husband. Of course, they quote the woman, just saying. They were looking for 2 years, couldn't find anything they liked. And so now they're giving up in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Well, I find that interesting because when I look at the data, the actual numbers, Chester County's main city is West Chester. I looked it up. My parents are from Philadelphia, so I have a little Philly pride in me. But I actually took the time to look at the actual data. Went to Altos and found that even a lower price home in Chester, West Chester, Chester County, PA, that's selling now for $891. If you look at the yellow, 2 years ago sold for $652. So if they just bought the average house 2 years ago, they would have paid $652, and today it'd be worth $891. They would have made $250,000, over 30% return on investment. You might say, well, yeah, Bill, but there's a mortgage. Yeah, they might have had a mortgage on the purchase price, but all that equity is theirs. And they can roll that equity to the next house probably and avoid taxes. So really, you have this article by Axios, poor Rosemary and her husband, and they're pre-approved. I mean, they could have bought. They just chose not to. And really what's happening is they couldn't get everything they wanted. So instead of settling and buying a house and then 2 years later taking those profits and buying a better house, they're being quoted in national press whining and crying as victims. I'll tell you, my wife and I bought our first house, we were first married, in 1987. Very small house, smallest house in a nice neighborhood, only house without a view in a neighborhood of views. We bought it for $142 a year later, sold for $240. Took that money and bought a beautiful home that we lived in for years after that. So again, I think the press does a terrible job. Excuse me. By talking about giving up and not encouraging people how hard it is to get ahead with income and wealth, and instead always makes them out to be the victims.